Welcome to episode number 68 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co-host, Dr. Games 101.
Hey guys, like my new hat? Naruto Uzumaki's Ramen Shop. Yeah, baby.
Okay. And tonight we're going to do what we do every couple of weeks, talk about the latest news in gaming. You ready to begin?
Oh yeah.
Okay, first topic coming up. Let's see. 2 Call of Duty cheat makers ordered to pay $3 million to Activision. 2 cheat makers from the group Engine Owning were ordered by a judge to pay $3 million in damages to Call of Duty publisher Activision. Unauthorized cheat tools are nothing new in PC gaming, but there's an increasing crackdown on those who make and distribute them. Call of Duty cheat seller Engine Owning is the latest to be hit with a big judgment, with 2 developers from the group recently ordered to pay $3 million for creating cheating software. The judgment, which was first covered by Axios, notes that the cheats were used for multiple Call of Duty games, including Modern Warfare 2, Vanguard, all of the Black Ops games, Warzone, and Warzone 2. It also states that Engine Owning creates similar software for Overwatch, another Activision-published game. As online multiplayer games have continued to grow in recent years, major publishers have become bolder in their pursuit of cheat sellers, especially Activision, Destiny 2 developer Bungie, and Valorant developer Riot Games. Many of these suits cite the DMCA as a key piece of their case against the cheat makers. Bungie is currently embroiled in several legal cases against cheat sellers, recently notching a $4.3 million judgment against well-known cheat purveyor. Aim Junkies in arbitration. Bungie is also suing a Destiny YouTuber who's accused of impersonating the company in order to send DMCA strikes to fellow content creators. PUBG Mobile cheat makers faced a $10 million judgment early last year after a victory for Tencent. So, what do you think of these cheaters getting basically taken to the cleaners? I mean,
it's just as well served because when you try to intimidate and copy and mock the copyright system and try to game the system through copyright infringement, it does affect it to some extent. And not only that, they also are the distributors of these cheat systems. So it's going to be a huge target on your back once you start distributing large sums of practices of cheating or practices of selling a ready-made, already well-to-do product on IP of sorts. Because after a while, the radar is going to come up on your screen of your opponents, of your adversaries, whether it's Activision or if it's Nintendo. Especially these companies, Nintendo and Activision, they've been at this for how many years, tracking down people who are trying to copy verbatim of certain cheat codes or cheat systems, or even just to reselling the product of their own fruition, thinking that they're going to get away with it. Like, you just can't. On the internet especially, everything's being tracked, so yeah.
Yeah, but could you imagine if someone had a $3 million judgment on you?
Yeah, I can't pay that shit at all. There's no way I can pay that shit in my lifetime. Unless if I won the lottery, then okay. If I won like $1 million lottery, okay. You can seize my assets, whatever, and then fashion, whatever's left over, I get to keep whatever myself. But that's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $3 million. It's a lot of money to be. I'm looking to make my first $1 million before I'm like 50 years old at this rate, whatever I'm doing. So I'm trying to get more involved on, again, property situated, buying some property in the future. So I'm still looking at the market and stuff like that. But this would be a hindrance in my perspective to anyone who doesn't not making any money whatsoever in their life. Yes, you work a part-time job or a full-time job in fast food or whatever, but you're not gonna pay it off in a lifetime. There's just no way. So, as an average person, that is.
Yeah, they'll have to. If you can't pay it, you'll have to file for bankruptcy.
That's some bankruptcy already. That's going to affect your credit score. It's going to affect your finances. It'll affect your way to pay for your...
It'll affect you for a number of years, yeah, but at least the judgments will be wiped. Like I said, the only things that don't go away from due to bankruptcy, as far as I know, is student loans.
Yes. It's like Alex Jones. I know he's a conspiracy theorist right now, but Alex Jones, he's been behind those talking about those conspiracy theories for how many decades, and he fucked up on the Sandy Hook shooting conspiracy in his perspective. And look where he's at now. Now he's bankrupted for over $1 billion. That's billion right there. Alex Jones can't pay that off, even if he is making money off his conspiracy mogul institution, we'll call it. So it's kind of interesting.
Yes. Coming. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I'll talk more about this. So yeah, guys. So Call of Duty, the makers of them, $3 million. I hope they get this wiped clean within about, I would say, just from a bankruptcy. But a person myself, in comparison to Alex Jones's bankruptcy, I hear that they're also going to help him out. So if they get some helper from on the game industry, like say Major Nelson, perhaps Phil Spencer, maybe even Cliff Blinsky of the Gears of War creator, have to ease their pain on the $3 million settlement. But they're not well mentioned people like that of Alex Jones and Elon Musk. So it's kind of like they suck themselves in the crapper on this one. So there's no way to get themselves out of it. And it sucks. It sucks to be them. These people, these Call of Duty makers, these cheat makers actually. And I hope they'll get rid of the cheating system or this cheat system, we'll call it, that's affecting gameplay. I hope they'll get rid of it sooner rather than later. But at this rate, Modern Warfare 2 2022 is not going anywhere with the cheat system, so it's kind of like, it's a permanent thing for now. I hope to get rid of it sooner rather than later, but that's all I have to say about the matter, Triple J.
Alright, so, I mean, maybe this is what has to be done, though, to get rid of these cheated people, making money off cheats. Mm-hmm. And the person that was pretending to be a game company that was flagging content on YouTube, that's not even cheating. That's like fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he did that as a person, that would be like identity theft. I don't know what it is when you pretend to be a representative of a company, but it's got to be something along those lines.
Yeah, for embezzlement, but you're not representative of that company directly. Just outsource security that can come from the company to some other entity. Yeah. So,
you have to also have access to the financials for it to be embezzlement.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
But yeah, so sucks for these. Maybe this will get people to stop selling unfair cheats in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
I want to say too is that I'm getting tired of these cheaters in games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty 2022, 2019, and so on. These games have been under development for how many years prior to their release, and the last thing we need is just some group of people that want to cheat and sell cheats to people and make it much worse than it is now. And I mean, I try to be as legitimate as possible in my game playing in Apex Legends and Modern Warfare 2 2022. But after a while, it's kind of like to a point where people just keep cheating left and right no matter what, because they either suck at the game or they want to make some money off of it, or both. And I have to say that's very, very pathetic on their part of just doing it just for the sake of getting better at it and not making no money off of it. So, but that's my opinion, of course. So.
All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, next. All right, Xbox's Phil Spencer defends Activision Blizzard deal after key EU hearing. Xbox boss Phil Spencer said that he doesn't want the console market to end up like the two-party smartphone market in a recent UK interview. The ongoing saga of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger continued to unfold this week as Xbox boss Phil Spencer jetted over to Europe to face UK and EU regulators who have yet to pronounce judgment on the blockbuster deal. In an interview with The Times, Spencer said that he doesn't want the market for video game consoles to end up like smartphones, which only has two major manufacturers. We're almost already there with, look, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. Spencer also said that Xbox will continue to exist regardless of whether or not the deal goes through, though it is an important acquisition. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are the current players in the console space. Regulators have noted that Nintendo's console compete less closely with Microsoft than Sony's, however. Yeah. Nintendo's like the third wheel when you compare it to Sony and Microsoft. In recent weeks, Spencer and Xbox have expressed frustration with some of the questions being asked by regulators, claiming in the interview that PlayStation controls 70% of console gaming's global market share. Spencer has also stated that Activision Blizzard's mobile division, the company owns King, one of the largest studios in the space, is one of the major reasons for the deal. To date, however, regulatory bodies like the European Commission and the U.S.'s Federal Trade Commission have focused their questions on the Call of Duty series. Microsoft said that it offered Sony a 10-year contract to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, as well as inking a deal with Nintendo to put the shooter series on Switch. Regulators are also seemingly concerned with Microsoft's dominance in the cloud gaming space, a fast-growing section of the industry. In the interview, Spencer said he's enjoyed helping educate regulators on the gaming industry. Most of the time in my career at Xbox, I met with government regulators. There's been a real lack of knowledge about the games industry, Spencer said. I've appreciated spending time with them and in certain cases helping to educate. I think for a lot of the regulators, this is the first time they've looked at this industry. So Phil Spencer seems to continue to be optimistic about their judgment. What do you think?
Well, based on Sony's perspective, I think Phil Spencer kind of like step on his own toes or put his own foot in his mouth sometimes when it comes down to the deal, because if Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, Microsoft Studios, Microsoft altogether, can afford this acquisition and merge it with the company.
They can. They can afford it. They're just saying it's just like I said, it's regulators who really I feel have no business in this acquisition. The company wants.
If I can finish what I'm trying to say, Triple J. If I can say what I have to say, Triple J, is that then why would they have layoffs of 10,000 workers from last month or whatever earlier this year? So it's kind of like a contradiction. It's like, oh, we can afford the acquisition. We're gonna cut 10,000 workers from our workforce here at Microsoft. That's like, I'll get that. It's very conflicted. So that's trying to explain.
True.
So I guess Phil Spencer got to understand that. As we're just typical people in his eyes, but as a potential business person like myself, I want to make sure that that we have secure funding for these acquisitions. We have to make sure that we have secure connections, make sure that the regulators approve of it on time, because it's been a year right now. It's taking way too long, all because of what Sony's kerfuffle. They said what they had their hand in now with the prevent the acquisition from happening. So this is not unfair practice. It's just that it's like a little cluster, a cluster luck they call it in the Halo community in game playing. So it's kind of like, one person go up against this person, and this entity is being taken over by this entity, and it's the back and forth. The regulators are to break it up, the fight, whatever. So Sony and Microsoft is kind of like that kind of situation for last year now, and Sony's doing a good job trying to prevent this from happening, but it's inevitable. And but hopefully that, as long as Microsoft doesn't have any further layoffs or further the downsizing of their company and trying to still buy the acquisition, I have to say, more power to Microsoft. So,
Yeah. But the thing is, there's one thing we don't know about Microsoft. When they had the layoffs, we don't know if they were I think they were getting rid of a specific department. Like, they could have kept the people on, and they would have been working on nothing and kept the office lease going and just been wasting money. Mm-hmm. Or they said, hey, we have nothing for you. We have to let you go because we're not just going to pay you just to have you on the payroll. Your job's done.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where the layoffs really happened. But you're right about that. I mean, but like I said, as long as they can afford it and pay the price that they said they would, and they're not going to keep anything like Call of Duty's exclusive, there really should be no problem with it. Okay. And we're going to get into Sony's response, which shows that they don't really care about the merger. They're just in it for themselves. They're just in it just to be a nuisance, basically.
Yeah.
Ready to move on, or?
I just want to say too, when it comes to Microsoft, when it comes to Sony specifically, when it comes to Sony, they have their own acquisitions to try to do. I think they tried to acquire some other gaming company last year for about $3 billion. So it's kind of like, more handed to the acquire for a smaller fee, but. Like Sony should be no different and prevent this from happening. So if the shoe was on the other foot, Sony will definitely be like, "Oh, this is unfair practices by Microsoft," and yada yada yada. It's kind of I don't get Sony. Like Sony's trying to be a backstabber. Sony's trying to be a shady entity for the last 10, 15, 20 years now. It's time for Sony just to stop doing what they're doing because personally myself, I want to go back to PlayStation myself. So it's kind of like, if they keep this up, then I'm gonna look like a fool myself to buy their product after a while. So it's just something that, in my own personal perspective, I see. So that's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'd ever go back to Sony. If I ever went back to Sony, it'd be retro-wise, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Just because of the CMOS batteries in PS4 and PS5, I heard that when they die, your system is bricked.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way to keep the CMOS battery from dying. It's a battery. It's going to run out sooner or later.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, but like, yeah, I grew up with PS2 and I had Xbox 360 first, but I had a PS3 eventually because I got a good deal on it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and I personally
with my Xbox 360, with my 360 not working, if I want to play something from the PS3 360 era, it's got to be either a PS3 game or it's got to be something that's compatible with Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
I just want to say too is that what comes down to to Sony PlayStation. I have a PS2 and I still have my PS2 games from like 20 years ago. Thank goodness. My uncle gave me my first ever PS2 back in December, Christmas 2001. Personally, myself, I don't have the actual PS2 anymore, the system that he bought me, but from a theft, it was from a long story short, it's like a theft from movers and stuff like that. But that's back then, of course. So, but I had good stuff back there in that container for my PS2. So I had the Bruce Lee videos. It's very rare Bruce Lee videos I couldn't find on the internet, even up to this time. But I refound my collection of Bruce Lee videos, stuff like that. So it was like I see Sony PS2 as like the grandiose of all consoles because it is the first ever console that introduces interactive disc playing with DVD playing and also CD playing, things that matter. So you don't have to have a game in the system just to have a good time. You just have to pop in a disc or CD and listen to some Green Day on your spare time while you're still waiting for your copy that comes out whenever on that month or year. So no big deal, right? So that's how I felt that way with PS2. And I hope that Sony will ease off a bit in my perspective from this acquisition. It looks bad on their parts to keep ranting and bantering over this deal. It seems childish. So because I want to see Sony as this good entity, but based upon previous experiences and interactions and deals, they were very shady. So it sucks to find this stuff out in recent time for last year now. So
yeah. All right. I mean, PS2 is definitely one of my. It's actually probably my number 3 favorite console of all time. It's definitely in top 5. Super Nintendo 360. In reverse order. Xbox One obviously is the number 1. But after you take out those 3, PS2. From the wrestling games to the different different games, and then you could play every PlayStation 1 game on it, as long as you have a memory card.
Mm-hmm.
You can still save your data. It's a great console.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't agree with their business practices, especially.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Xbox shovelware lineup for March 2023 revealed. Trouba Brook, Sudden Strike 4, Complete Collection, and Lamentum will be available to Gold and Game Pass Ultimate subscribers in March. Microsoft has announced a lineup for Xbox Games with Gold for March 2023 and includes 3 games: Troublebrook, Sudden Strike 4 Complete Collection, and Lamentum. As with all Games with Gold games, they will be available next month for Gold and Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Troublebrook will be available to download throughout the whole month of March, which usually retails for $30, is a sci-fi mystery adventure where you explore the titular 1960s German village, which hides many secrets, featuring backgrounds made of handmade miniatures and all sorts of wacky science as you fight to save the world. Sunstrike 4 Complete Collection will also be available to be downloaded the entire month of March. This World War II RTS game allows you to relive some of the most memorable moments in military history, including in Rommel's Africa, the Finnish front, and the iconic road to Dunkirk. This package includes all 5 previously released DLCs for Sunstrike 4, so check it out if you're interested. Lamentum will be downloadable from March 16 to April 15. Lovecraftian adventures. That's a weird word. A Lovecraftian adventure set in a haunted mansion. Lamentum allows you to explore the dark depths of the human psyche as nobleman Victor Hartwell must decide how far he will go to save his sick wife. The survival horror game is not for the faint of heart. Okay, that sounds a little interesting at least. Last month's games include For the King and Guts and Goals. Guts and Goals will be available to subscribers through March 15th. Microsoft's other major service, Game Pass, has recently added a number of notable games, including controversial first-person shooter Atomic Heart and the upcoming Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Are you interested in any of these 3 games that are coming to Games with Gold?
Not necessarily. I did download one of the 3 games earlier today. I think it's just to play again. I was actually busy getting sales acquired copies of games like Call Juarez for about a few bucks. Time Splitters 1 and 2 and such. So no, I can't really say much about these 3 games. But yeah, at one point, Games with Gold they only had 2 games per month for a few months now. If we're recording up until this month, that's a good thing to try.
Now they're up to 3.
Yeah, so now it's to try to rebrand themselves or reinvigorate the incentives of having Games with Gold. So that's a good thing on their part. I have to say, very good game, very good timing for the matter. Because just get back up to 4 and make the games that we care about. Oh yeah, and
it's almost like a Microsoft Games with Gold has almost become like an indie gaming showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, while indie games can be fun and great and low budget and still be a lot of fun,
mm-hmm.
it becomes shovelware after a while, especially when you have nothing but indie game after indie game.
Yeah. But when it comes out to the Games with Gold things that matter, if they could just find a way to reinvigorate the titles that were once that were forgotten, but were good to play, like Red Faction Guerrilla or the Red Faction series or something like that, trying to reinvigorate that series by reintroducing it to their Games with Gold. So I think that I'm sure they wanted the PlayStation 2 at one point back many years ago, but for the last since 2008, 2009, they had the Red Faction Guerrilla and stuff. So they should be able to, perhaps put them into the lineup. Try to bring back those old games and stuff like that. So that people can think, oh, that's a good game I played back when I was a kid, and such and such. It's something of that sort. It's something like that. So it's something to consider.
Yeah. Lamentum, I'm like very little interested in. The other 2 games I really couldn't care less about. I'm not a big real-time strategy fan. Valkyria Chronicles 4, I will say, that's kind of real-time strategy. Not really. It's more like turn-based strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You get a certain number of turns. You can move whoever you want, depending on whether you got allied down or if you have, or if you're close to completing a mission. You decide who you want to move. You try to move the same piece too many times, you can only move them a certain distance that's a little bit less than, like if you get 8 turns, you want to move the same guy 5 times, Well, when you try to move the guy the second time, you won't be able to. He won't be able to cover as much distance as the first time you moved him.
Oh yeah.
But you got to come up. Is it more important to move this guy, or is it more important to move someone else that may or may not be able to cover just as much ground in this turn? It's. But real-time strategy, I've really never gotten into, and the game and the other game, I just don't really care about.
Yeah.
Even after reading about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
I want to say too that a suggestion to Microsoft, if they're listening in on this conversation, what they should do is try to put games like back on the track for RPG fans like myself, called Octopath Traveler, because Octopath Traveler 2 came out back late last month. So, and yes, at one point it was on Game Pass for a while, for a few months, but that was it. I never actually get into it. But then I heard of Octopath Traveler 2 with different new stories, new characters, such and such, things that matter. I was like, you know what? That would be a good idea if they reinvigorate the Octopath game, the first one, to Xbox One on the Games of Gold. And that would be great for my addition to collections. It looks good, to play and stuff. Like, it's kind of like similar to the three games we mentioned earlier, so similar in a similar fashion. It's like or we can do something with the ID and Xbox. Try to merge ID and Xbox with Games with Gold. Why not bring back 3-4 games every couple months with that lineup? Because ID and Xbox made so far over 100 games so far with the ID and Xbox program. So why not do something like that? So if they are doing that right this second, then that'll be great. But I don't see that really necessarily. So
and I don't see them doing what I wish, which is, bring back the 360 games that are go through Game Pass, because a lot of those games are, it's kind of like at first we didn't want to deal with the repeats, but it's like with what we've had for the last year and a half, I'd rather deal with the repeats than what we have besides the repeats.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be doing that. Ready to move on, or
it's got to have hope, have high hope. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
yes.
they increased it from 3 to 2. So.
Oh yeah. I'm ready.
Okay. Next. PS3 gets a new firmware update. Yes, in 2023. Sony has released a PS3 firmware update version 4.9. There's nothing fancy in the update. It improves system performance and requires a minimum 200 megabytes of free space on the PS3 hard drive or storage media. It's impressive to see PS3 updates still rolling out, especially since we're on the 5th generation of PlayStation and there are no more new games being made for PS3. Sony did plan to shut down the PS3 storefront in 2021, but reversed its plans after players who still use the PlayStation 3 pushed back against the decision. It is, however, harder to purchase PS3 and Vita content now. Credit and debit cards as well as PayPal can't be used to purchase content in PlayStation Store on PS3 or Vita devices. Players need to add funds through other ways, like using the desktop or mobile versions of PlayStation Store or other PlayStation devices like the PS5. Sony did proceed with plans to close down the PSP store in 2021. In related hardware news, Sony's PSVR 2 launched on February 22nd. The virtual reality headset is a more refined and advanced iteration of the first PSVR. This leaves PSVR 2 in a very strange spot. As a successor, it improves on what came before in every possible way. It's a very well-made VR headset that has a high-quality build and a premium feel while utilizing powerful technology, said Tamor Hussain in GameSpot's PSVR 2 review. But there's nothing that makes it absolutely essential to own right now. Beyond the thrills of being there on day one for new gaming hardware, or if you just really want more Horizon. So what do you think of you have a PS3 now. What do you think of a PS3 getting a firmware update?
I don't have PS4, but I have PS3 thanks to a donation by the name of Mr.
Yes,
X.
they said this update's for PS3.
Okay. Obviously, well, for me, I went to my first thank Mr. X, the one who donated a PS3 to me via the mail system. So he did this back around during my birthday. So I'm trying to do whatever I can do to play PS3 for back then. Hopefully I can reinvigorate myself to do PS3 gameplay with you guys soon. But other than that, yeah, I hope it works this time because when I tried to connect my PS3 last year, back in August or September, I couldn't connect to the internet, or there's no sign of like verification on my account that I signed up on the desktop PC back last year. So it's kind of weird that you have a firmware update for PS3 right now. And I'm thinking to myself, let's hope this will work this time around for this update. You know, because last year, like I said, we mentioned back in 2022, late 2021, that Sony would discontinue the PS3, Vita, and PSP online services. So more power to them to reinvigorate and reinstall another update to these systems, at least with PS3 that is. So hopefully they'll do work good in my favor. So yeah.
Yeah. I just hope it's not like a dead update. You download the update, your system gets bricked.
Yes.
That would kind of be a dick move.
Yeah, it'd be like ride to the streets. It'd be like that video on Twitter that passed around where there's these teenagers and young adults team up together and push back police cars in Chicago. Like that would be the time when everyone gets pissed off when all their firmware updates and all the CMOS batteries are dead and stuff like that. Because it'd be like, man, I paid too much money for this game. Let's try it, raw. And it'd be like, you know.
Well, that's why retro gaming is so important. You know, yeah, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis may not be the most cheap, affordable things right now, but if you have a collection of that, when the last CMOS battery goes, you can still play video games if you got your retro systems. And obviously, Nintendo 64, original PlayStation, even PlayStation 2, you know, and anything in that category or more retro. So like GameCube, Xbox, or anything from before that, you'd still be able to play.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't been playing my PS3 much, so I haven't even encountered this update yet. But yeah, I mean, if it just upgrades system performance, that's wow, that is impressive. Since the PS3 has been dead for almost 10 years.
Yeah, so it says 2008, the release of the PS3. So,
well, it came out in 2008, but when did PS4 come out? 2014.
2014, yeah. Well, 2013 more exact. November 2013, okay. December 2013.
So 9.5 years ago, the PS4 came out.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, I remember I was holding my hands on a PS4 back then, but in 2013. But I was only working what's it called, with those snack bar counterpart positions at the local theater at Valley Stream. But that theater was shut down now. It's been taken over. It's been bulldozed, and there's a new shopping center there with Buffalo Wild Wings and what's it called, Men's Warehouse, such and such. So it's it's very different last time you were there, Triple J. So yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't got anything else to say on this. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Okay. Chrono Trigger creator reveals development struggles. We had to tear the project down, but the future refused to change. Chrono Trigger is widely considered one of the best RPGs of all time, but according to Hironobu Sakaguchi, it almost became a mediocre game. At the Monaco Anime Game International Conferences 2023, Sakaguchi, best known as the father of the Final Fantasy series, looked back at Chrono Trigger, a game he worked on together with Yuji Horii, who worked on Dragon Quest, and Akira Toriyama, who worked on Dragon Ball. I was already a big fan of Akira Toriyama's manga before I entered the video game industry, so working together with him was like a dream come true for me, Sakaguchi recalled. The same could be said for the entire staff, so his drawings became a huge motivation for us. That doesn't mean that Chrono Trigger's development was an easy one. Sakaguchi said it was the most difficult game to make amongst all of the titles he has worked on, which is why it is very dear to his heart. It almost became a mediocre game, so we had to tear the project down and start all over from scratch, Sakaguchi said. An instant classic. That was undoubtedly for the best, as the final version that was released for the Super Nintendo in 1995 was an instant classic that is still being talked about nearly 30 years later. Sakaguchi himself was satisfied about the end result, and he recalls that Toriyama was happy about how the game turned out too. This led them to work together again on Blue Dragon, which was released 11 years later on the Xbox 360. During the conference, Sakaguchi showed a portrait of himself drawn by Toriyama. The two are known to be good friends. One's wearing like a gas mask like they're in Fallout 3. The other's just like a, hey, business guy in a nice suit. At Magic 2023, Sakaguchi also talked about what he hopes for the future of his most recent title, Fantasia. In addition, IGN interviewed Sakaguchi in 2022, where he talked about his love of Final Fantasy XIV and his future plans. How do you feel about the game Chrono Trigger?
I have a copy of it personally myself on the PS1 for about 5 years almost, if not more than that. I bought it on sale for about not even $25 brand new, and it was a blessing. I actually got it for that price, and I played it a few times. I did recordings of it on my BitChute channel. So I just want to really look back at my on my long playing terms in record. Go to bitchute.com/Dr. Games 101. You'll see my gameplay of Chrono Trigger. I did Medal of Honor, all these old games from 1990s and such. So hell, even Tomb Raider 1. So the first Tomb Raider from 1994.
Did you even rescue the Queen yet, or are you still in that?
No, I only went against the first boss, and that's it. After that, I still did the cathedral after defeating the first boss.
Okay, I'm thinking back to your last video. You did find the door that you unlock using the cathedral organ.
That's correct. And then after that, I actually escaped the cathedral. It's another part of the world. Not sure exactly where. I have to go look back at my records, my saving records. But I'm sure. But I didn't defeat my first boss, definitely.
All right. Well, so if you didn't save the Queen, which is kind of like the first boss, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
And that's in the cathedral. So if you're out in the main world, you're just basically wasting time. You just gotta find more secrets in the cathedral. But luckily, they're like, maybe you see a skull on the wall, you push it, and maybe a secret door opens. That's the extent of the puzzles, at least in the cathedral. Chrono Trigger is it's probably my favorite role-playing game of all time.
Okay.
I wish I still had it. I do want to get the PlayStation version again. But yeah, if you have not played Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, although I've never gotten as far in Chrono Cross, you definitely should play these two games for PlayStation.
I got Chrono Cross as well too, my friend. I haven't just played it.
I don't think you have you played that yet, or no?
Not yet. I'm still trying to play Chrono Trigger first, then I'll try to play Chrono Cross. So.
Well, the only thing with that, unless, like I said, I didn't make it very far in Chrono Cross. I did play a number of hours before I reviewed it, and I did not see any direct ties to Chrono Trigger. Everyone says it's a sequel to Chrono Trigger. I don't see any direct correlation.
It's a spiritual successor, not an actual sequel. Think of the games Black and Body Count. Black for the Xbox, PS2. That was back in 2005, 2004, whatever. And then Body Count.
That was awful.
No, Black was good. It's a good game.
I hated it.
Really? Wow. It's one of the best games for the Xbox and PS2 at the time. But the Body Count game, to most people, it came on my birthday, 2011, of August 30th. But to me, Body Count was alright, the game to play. I decided to sell it again to make some money for whatever I need to pay for, bills, whatever, back then. I'll still try to buy a copy of it one more time still. But yeah, Body Count wasn't the best game, but it was a spiritual successor to Black. So think of it like that, So.
Okay. Yeah, with Black, I I almost threw my controller across my room playing that game.
Because there's no saving point during the middle of the missions.
Yeah, that's one problem. So like you die, you go all the way back.
Yep, especially if you didn't save at all, if not the entire time playing the game. So you might go back a couple of levels if you didn't save at all. Shit.
Yeah, so I hated. I mean, I almost threw my controller through the window. I stopped myself at the last. I stopped myself through the last second.
It's like,
and I thought,
motherfucker.
and I thought, that's it. I'm not playing this anymore. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not going to break my controls over this mediocre game.
Well, it had a good story. It could have actually got a sequel, but the problem though wasn't enough fun. Either it wasn't enough funding for the project, or that it wasn't as funded enough by the gaming company. I'm not sure who's behind. I think who's behind the maker of Black. Do you know?
No, I'll look it up.
Yeah, so the company behind Black, they didn't have enough money to make a sequel. Now the special sequel, Body Count, they did make was behind about that matter, but that was not that great of a game as Black. So.
Okay, I'm on Wikipedia right now. The developer was Criterion Games.
Okay.
And it was published by Electronic Arts.
EA Games, good old EA.
Yep.
Back during its glory days, where they thought of the fans not about money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. The Wolf Among Us 2 has been delayed out of 2023. Telltale Games has announced The Wolf Among Us 2 has been delayed and will now arrive in 2024. In a statement to IGN, the team explains it wants to avoid crunching the team and releasing an unfinished product as it moves development into Unreal Engine 5. Telltale released a brief message on Twitter announcing the delay, but CEO Jamie O'Teely shares more context with IGN. I'll just use his first name since I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Mm-hmm. Jamie discusses the challenges of relaunching the studio in 2019, which were then compounded when the COVID-19 pandemic began the following year. That includes announcing the game when the studio was still staffing up to help secure early funding. Despite those early hurdles, Jamie states that development has been going well since then, but the team recently decided it wants to adopt Unreal 5 to take advantage of the engine's new features. Unfortunately, that meant having to redo a lot of work that had been created in Unreal 4. What was that? Dr. Games 101?
Say again, I'm sorry, what happened?
I thought you said something.
Oh no, I was just breathing at first.
Oh, okay. With such a big change, Jamie explains the only way that The Wolf Among Us 2 could still arrive this year would be either to launch it in a less published state, which the team wants to avoid given its high expectations, or to overwork the staff. Given that the old Telltale was infamous for crunch and burnout, Jamie is adamant about avoiding the same practice with this iteration of the studio. I've done crunch, and I don't want to do it again, and it's not fair to ask it, Jamie tells IGN. You can't plan a business around it. So yeah, part of it is about maintaining a healthy work culture. We don't want to burn out our good people. The Wolf Among Us 2 was announced at the 2019 Game Awards, and will be an episodic title like its predecessor. However, Telltale is developing each episode at the same time, so the entire series will be complete when the first installment launches. You can watch the first full trailer from last year. The studio's other project, The Expanse, a Telltale series, is still dated for this year. So how do you feel about The Wolf Among Us 2 being delayed to 2024?
More power to them, because the longer the delay, and the more time they put into that delay, the better, because whatever glitches, whatever mishaps they made with the game right now, it could be a good difference maker for next year for release rather than this year. Games like what's it called? Well, previously the Wolf Among Us 1, I mean, that game was okay at first. For me, it's okay on my book, but the ending of the game was kind of like, obviously it was a cliffhanger / incomplete. So hopefully they'll make up for it in Wolf Among Us 2. Um, yeah, it's I guess you could say I can't complain. I really can't because it's perfect timing. Let's work on the game, work on the story. More choices, the better. More outcomes, the better. Hopefully, we might see even a trilogy at this rate. If they put more effort into the game, that is. So, you never know, right? So,
Yeah, and we're not going to have to wait a month or a month and a half between the episodes. When the first episode launches, the fifth episode will be done. So
it'd be like Netflix,
we'll
pretty
be able.
much.
So for people like us, we'll be able to jump into the next episode the moment we finish the previous episode.
It'd be like the Netflix series type of content where a new show appears, a new season, then all the episodes come out that same season at the same time. So kind of like that feeling. So that's a good thing. What you just said just now, Triple J.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I can't wait, but at the same time, I don't want them to burn themselves out because it looked really bleak that Telltale Games was going to be gone as a studio in full. Um, so I'm glad that they're back, and I just can't wait to see Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah.
We even watched a couple of trailers on this podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we have back last year or two.
Yeah. Ready? Anything else to say, or
I'm ready.
ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Next. Phil Spencer talks Activision deal and Xbox's policy on exclusive games. According to Spencer, the company will treat Call of Duty like Minecraft. In a new interview, Xbox boss Phil Spencer discussed the reasons behind the Activision Blizzard acquisition and the company's policy on console exclusivity. Speaking to Xbox On, Phil Spencer claimed that the Xbox is focused on June's showcase, but other news will be on the way. Spencer also mentioned that Everwild from developerware is still in development. When asked about the response to the Activision Blizzard acquisition, Spencer said, "For the Xbox community, there's a lot of anticipation for the industry, and I think this is right. There's questions about, well, what does this mean? How's this going to affect competition?" He reaffirmed that the Activision Blizzard acquisition was never primarily about Call of Duty, but was about building the company's mobile portfolio. Mobile is the largest gaming platform on the planet. For us, the logic really started from how do we gain more capability on mobile. He commented on Call of Duty itself. He said, "We will increase the places where people can play Call of Duty, kind of like Minecraft." He also affirmed that certain modes or cosmetics in Call of Duty will not be exclusive to Xbox. Xbox will continue to foster and develop exclusive games, though. Spencer specifically addressed Starfield, saying that, "I don't think I ever said that Starfield was not going to be exclusive to Xbox. I think what I said is we're going to take it on a case-by-case basis. We're not going to pull games that are on other platforms." Spencer also mentioned that he believes AI will be a positive force for gaming in the future. So what do you think about basically Phil Spencer's explanation why he wants Activision Blizzard, which basically has been the same thing he's been saying all along. It's been about getting a foot in the mobile market.
I have to say it's also more exclusives pertaining to Xbox themselves rather than sticking with entertainment aspects of the console itself. Now, what they did good with Xbox One, in my perspective, is that yes, there weren't that many exclusives for the Xbox One throughout most of its generation, or its entirety of the generation of Xbox One. They brought about the interactivity of your entertainment. At one point, they have Snap an app. They had an app where you can listen to music like SoundCloud while gaming, and that's been a blessing to me for my Apex Legends gaming from 2020 to 2022. And by August 2022, I started doing tournaments, as a matter for this matter. So more power to the Xbox One for doing so. It's like it's been it was like an actual training for the tournaments I'm doing for the last few months now with C League and all. So that's a good thing. But other than that, with like I said before, Phil Spencer just sticks with making sure to keep his Xbox division intact. No layoffs, no form of misconceptions, stuff like that, and still acquired acquisition of Activision Blizzard. More power to him. Why not? It's I wish Phil Spencer could just like get over with it. It's been a year right now, a year and 2 months actually, and get out of the way. But at this rate, with the Activision Blizzard on the stock market and all, I invested a few dollars in the Activision Blizzard. At one point, it started to go down, and it declined. So, I, this is what I experienced in handling money in the stock market for the last few months now. But it's it's kind of like iffy now with the stock market. So if they can try to realign it with the stock market in a more positive direction, perhaps more positive news for Activision Blizzard, Activision and the Activision Blizzard stock, that will definitely increase the stock value. Hopefully over time. Hopefully by the time when it's acquired officially by Microsoft, then the stock market hopefully will increase further than the typical whatever the price is at the time of what's going down severely. So not severely, but gradually speaking over time. So I mean, I'm no stock market expert. I'm not an investor or any sort of official on the books type of investor or whatever. But based on my opinion, based on my analysis of the matter, it's just my opinion, my analysis of what's going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to say about what Phil Spencer has been. Phil Spencer had to say because up to this point he's been true to his word. I mean, like I said, they're in a 10-year deal with Nintendo, provided this acquisition happens, that they can't back out of unless they want to risk Nintendo taking them to court.
Oh yeah.
So, it's them making deals with like Nvidia. I think they also did. And Nintendo shows that, any games that's been multi-platform is going to stay multi-platform as much as Microsoft can get the other consoles or game distributors or whatever come to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as mobile goes, we really don't have much to say because I don't. Do you play games on your cell phone?
Rarely. For the last couple of years now, not much, really, no. Even if I have
I don't even have a cell phone.
You have a smartphone?
I don't even have a cell phone anymore.
Okay. I had a smartphone since 2019 officially. Beforehand, I had a flip phone. And I would say most of my games that I play on the go were on my Game Boy Color for many years, up until like 5 years ago. And since then, I haven't really took out my Game Boy from my backpack and played on the bus in a while now, so...
Well, Nintendo DS and PSP for me, but
right, of course. But as far as on the smartphone or the phone altogether, the last game I ever played on the any phone was Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man on the Verizon flip phone back in 2006, 2007, give or take. I was working a full-time fast food worker for Subway sandwiches, so that was a good experience. On my way home for 2 hours. It takes me 2 hours to get home and 2 hours to get to the business to work at. So out on Long Island, I'm just like on the bus reading newspapers. Sometimes even playing the Miss Pac-Man. I'm like getting good scores of that Miss Pac-Man after a while. After that, stuck with Tetris. So yeah, and I lost my ability to get high scores now for the last few months, couple of years now. So.
In Tetris?
Yeah, Tetris. I had a high score of 65,000 and on level 13, but that was like 10 years ago to happen. So
wow, Tetris was one of the few games I could get access to when we were in Central High School. When we were in resource room, I even showed one student. I'm like, "You want to play Tetris? This is how you do it. Play Tetris online." Googled it, and it was like a flash game. And I'm like, see, you can play Tetris right here. I tried doing it until the teacher would always stop me.
Oh, yeah. And you also play Snake as well, too.
I tried turning the monitor, just a little bit towards me, but, not fully where it was obvious that I was hiding something. And I just played Tetris like this with my face, and, just, pressing down like I was scrolling through an article. Until the teacher stopped me. She's like, "James." I'm like, "Yeah," and I just look at her like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, nice try."
Yeah, I I played a lot of games on the iMac computer in high school. The iMac was the shit back then because I didn't have the access at home because my mom didn't want me to go on the internet at the time. But on the school internet, I was able to play all sorts of games from like websites like for webgames.com, snake.com, such and such. It's a blessing back then, especially in those libraries. Spent half my afternoon in the library, not only studying and reading books, but also playing like Dragon Ball, turn-based style type of games that are like independently from the creator of Dragon Ball. I forget where to find that exact game of Dragon Ball, but it was good because he'll do like special attacks like Vegeta, Goku, Frieza, Piccolo, you name it. The library was the shit back then for me.
I never spent much time in the library, but it seemed like as long as you weren't doing anything ridiculous, the library would let you get away with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Can't go on there for naughty stuff, that's for certain.
Yeah, well, that they obviously censored, but
yes, that's why I'm on the internet.
But yeah. So, but the thing is, like, I tried FreeArcade.com, which is, last I checked, is a website that has like games you can play right on the computer. That was blocked in school because arcade. Anything else to talk about? Anything else about this Xbox deal, or ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on.
Alright, next. Sims 4 is adding stretch marks, birthmarks, and C-section scars in next free update.
What?
Oh boy! The next base game update will continue to expand the customization options available for your Sims. The Sims 4 next big base game update is arriving on March 14th, bringing with it the brand new Infant Life stage. Maxis has just revealed that the free update will have even more in store for players, with new Create a Sim items including stretch marks, birthmarks, and cesarean scars. EA hasn't revealed the full list of new items yet, but has released a new trailer showing some of the upcoming customization items. The new birthmark cosmetics look to have a number of options for the size placement, and color, and will be available for all life stages, including infants. Stretch marks also have a broad range of options, and are likely to be available on teen and older Sims, while the cesarean scar is likely to be more limited in the Sims it can be equipped on. Sims 4 principal designer Matthew Fahey added in a comment that birthmarks and other body markings can be stacked with tattoos and will be included under the skin detail category of Create a Sim. The base game update with these new options will be available on March 14th, 2 days before the new Growing Together paid expansion releases. Growing Together is all about family dynamics, adding new options for interactions between family members. Oh boy, we all remember what happened last time they tried this. The expansion will also add new Create a Sim items as well as a new world, the bayfront town of San Sequoia. Sims 4 has focused on releasing more inclusive customization options lately, with a recent base game update adding medical wearables such as hearing aids and glucose monitors, as well as top surgery scars and binders. Okay, what do you think of this? Apparently, our Sims get now stretch marks, which are not great to look at any time.
I mean, I got stretch marks. We all got stretch marks at a certain age, whatever. But not the cesarean sections. And it's kind of weird. I was like, where did God go with this shit? I mean, I'm not sure if is it a fetish or something they're trying to create, or what? Like, what's going on here? I mean, it sounds too real to be true to have all these markings and stuff like this. One thing to have tattoos and all, don't get me wrong, but cesarean section, markings.
Yeah, see the cesarean scars.
I don't know what to say, my friend Triple J. It's an audience out there. It's It's something questionable to think about. It's like who are we, where are we from, and stuff like that kind of moment, you know.
Can we put stretch marks and cesarean scars on the infants?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I don't. Hey, remember the last time they tried adding a family dynamic, they added incest. So
yes, that was weird. Very weird.
And rapid aging. So who knows what they're going to add in this next update?
Did they already added the LGBT stuff we talked about from last year? Sometime last year? Yeah, that was crazy, yes. I wasn't I'm speechless, but at the same time, I have nothing to say after that. It's just...
I haven't played Sims 4. Yeah, I haven't played Sims 4 like once since they had this new stuff. Or maybe just one time. But really, they're getting ridiculous.
And the last time I ever played Sims at all myself was back in 2005 with my ex-girlfriend at the time, my girlfriend at the time. So it's kind of like, we weren't expecting, I'm sure she'd be like this too, like, what the fuck, kind of moment,
Yeah, apparently we got they got to keep adding this. I mean, I don't know who's making these calls, but I don't think anyone right in the head is. I mean, keep in mind, Sims is supposed to be E for everyone. What does someone like 10 or younger know about stretch marks and cesarean scars?
Unless you have stretch marks yourself as a person, overweight, obese, whatever. But other than that, cesarean section is a little bit like rated mature right there. So
yeah, I mean, Sims is just getting ridiculous.
Tisk, my friend, right? Tisk.
It'll be funny. It'll be funny to see what happens when this update comes out. Because I want to see if they're going to mess it up like they did before.
Yeah, and when did Sims 4 came out? Back like 5 years ago, right?
Probably even more than that. I don't know.
Because back when Sims came out in 2000, I saw gameplay.
Yeah, Sims came out in 2000. Yeah. Let me see. Sims 4.
I think of Sims. I think of like life simulators of like everyday life, going to the park or working out at the gym or having interactive tic-tac-toe playing or have family fun night out, stuff like that. But not like cesarean sections and other birthmarks and stuff like that. Sims
4 came out in 2014.
Sims 4 came out in 2014. Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
So it's almost its 10th anniversary next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine what are you going to do for the 10th anniversary edition of Sims 4.
But let's see. They already added Star Wars characters that no one wanted.
Okay. That Kylo Ren event.
So maybe they'll add in like Frankenstein's and they added like a Halloween pack that could terrorize Sims.
Wow.
Ready to move on, or
we have to move on? Yes, please. I'm just speechless.
Well, we could continue talking about this and making fun of the Sims.
I'm speechless.
8 titles are leaving Xbox Game Pass on March 15th. All the games leaving Xbox Game Pass this month. Another month for Xbox Game Pass subscribers means a new batch of games will be added to the service, but 8 titles will be leaving by March 15th. One of 2021's most notable games, Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, is among the collection of games to be leaving before the end of the month. The third-person RPG follows Star-Lord and his crew as they get swept up in an interplanetary disaster featuring tag-team gameplay, choice-based consequences, and a variety of boss fights. Regarded as one of the best indie titles of all time, Undertale is a rich 2D role-playing game full of unique characters and a turn-based combat system filled with player-made choices that impact the story. After a human child falls underground, the players discover a world that has become the home and prison to a monster race who long to return to the surface. Another title leaving the subscription service is Paradise Killer, which launched last year. The story entails a murder mystery set on an island called Paradise that regenerates every few millennia. The adventure game is a visual novel that features a cast of colorful characters, puzzles, and a winding story that can result in multiple endings. Although 8 games will be leaving this month, players can look forward to Valheim, which is being added to Game Pass on March 14th. So here's the titles, all the titles leaving. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, leaving console and PC. Undertale, leaving console.
What?
Young Souls, leaving console and PC. Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, leaving console and PC. Goat Simulator, leaving console. F1 2020, leaving console. Zero Escape, the Nonary games, leaving console and PC. And Paradise Killer, leaving console and PC. You said what? I think you care about one of these games?
Yeah, Undertale. I don't get to play it. I did see gameplay of it on Twitch streamer by the name of Couch Gaming 2 or Couch Gaming altogether. He did a segment of Undertale where you interact with this transgender character or some sort of cross-dressing character. I'm not sure which one comes first, but whatever, right? So basically, I was like, "What the hell is this game about altogether?" And I realized that it's more to it than meets the eye. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this game in mind. When it comes on Game Pass or Games with Gold, I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna play it. I downloaded Undertale many months ago, if not weeks ago, but I did not expect for it to be leaving Game Pass so soon. So I have to play this game this month, no matter what, and see how it is with you guys.
Yeah, you gotta play it this weekend, basically. Wednesday is the 15th.
Yes. You said end of this month or the end of the mid-month?
No, they leave on the 15th.
I got 4 days left at most. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been playing Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm in like the 5th chapter, the final chapter.
Is it repetitive?
I don't know if I'll get a chance to finish it. Huh?
Is it repetitive like everyone else says?
It's kind of like a shooter more than an RPG. But it's not really repetitive because you still got the choice. You still got the conversation choices that you have to make. You can team up with your other Guardians for special moves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not repetitive.
Okay. How about the same character, the same enemies over and over, though? Or it's different enemies?
Yeah, kind of. That is one thing you encounter.
Okay.
But yeah, so unfortunately that's leaving. I don't know if I have a chance to play it, finish it. Guardians of the Galaxy. But if you're interested in any of these games, they only got a few days left.
Yep.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I definitely gotta play Undertale with you guys sometime this next week for us to wait.
All right. All right. Next, every post-launch DLC superstar coming to WWE 2K23. Per tradition, WWE 2K23 will receive several post-launch DLC superstar packs that will bolster the already large roster with even more playable wrestlers. 2K has unveiled the content of all 5 packs, revealing a number of top stars from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, as well as legends. The first pack hits in April, roughly a month after 2K23's launch, and will release every month through the end of the summer. Combined, the packs will add 24 superstars. Each bundle can be purchased individually and will be rolled out to season pass holders, which comes included with the deluxe and icon editions of the game. Check out the contents of each pack below. Coming out on April 19th is called the Steiner Row Pack. It includes Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, Ashanti the Adonis, Top Dollar, and B-Fab as just a manager. And on May 17th, the Pretty Sweet Pack consists of Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Tiffany Stratton, Elton Prince, and Kit Wilson. On June 14th, the Race to NXT Pack consists of Harley Race, Ivy Nile, Wendy Chu, Tony D'Angelo, and Trick Williams. The July 19th is the Revel with Wyatt Pack, which includes Bray Wyatt, Zeus, Valhalla, Joe Gacy, and Blair Davenport. And the final pack on August 16th, called the Bad News U Pack, consists of Eve Torres, Wade Barrett, Damon Kemp, Andre Chase, and Nathan Frazier. WWE 2K23 launches on March 17th, PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, though players who purchased the Deluxe Icon Editions can play on March 14th. You being not a current fan of WWE, but like ruthless fan through Ruthless Aggression and everything, definitely. Do any of these names interest you? Like, I guess the Steiners would.
Oh yeah, especially the Scott Steiner back during WCW years. They gave him a good run in WCW back when I was watching a lot of it wherever I can on Thursday and Friday nights. Monday nights and Wednesday nights or Thursdays, because either or, definitely one of those nights. And wow, it's been almost 20 years since last time I watched it in WCW wrestling. They got shut down and all. Because I'm sure you can find matches from WCW on YouTube.
You can find episodes. We watched an episode when I was still in New York.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Remember they had commercial promoting AOL 6.0? Oh
yes. Yeah, I wasn't even going on the internet at the time, at home that is, because of the my mom's restrictions and all, but I definitely try to sneak in to try to watch wrestling whenever I can after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, so she didn't like me watching wrestling most nights of throughout the weeks because of study and all. So I missed out on a lot of good wrestling of WWE because I watched WCW. So yeah, it's because things that go back. When I'm thinking of wrestling, I've always wanted to become a wrestler myself, and I always want to intimidate certain wrestling moves. It was back in 2002, the first year WWE was not had no competition. Was Brock Lesnar versus The Rock and all, and The Rock gave Paul Heyman a rock bottom into the announcement table to get rid of his ass from distracting him in the match. So I have it on somewhere on a tape, recorded with a friend by the name of Jonathan. Not the Jonathan from the city, but from the suburbs. And him and I, we had a good time watching that pay-per-view. Yeah, it's damn. There's just so much memories to think of and to choose from between WCW and WWF, now WWE. But yeah, man, it's well, it comes to the game itself of 2K 2023 of today's world. Of course, I can't really. I mean, if I really want to, I can get a copy of it. I plan on getting Hogwarts Legacy for the Xbox when it's coming out next month, though. The Xbox series already came out this past month, so. But other than that, yeah, 2K 2023, it's like a whatever. I will admit that. I'm not too excited to buy the game. I don't really want to get a copy of it to myself. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I'm not too excited either. I do have to say, of the wrestlers that are being, of the DLC that's coming out, obviously the Steiners, would interest me. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they wrestled in Japan. They wrestled in, I think, Impact. They had a short stay in AEW, so before coming back to WWE. Harley Race for the old fans. But I'm really surprised with Zeus.
Who's Zeus again?
Zeus he's the guy from the 1989 No Holds Barred movie.
Okay.
With Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Remember, he was the black guy with the Z's shaved on his head.
Oh, I don't remember. I didn't watch wrestling back then as much. I did watch WWF wrestling.
Did you get the No Holds Barred movie itself?
Not necessarily. What happened was that back in 1994, when I was 6 years old, I watched wrestling every week for a few weeks, but that's it. I stopped watching it after that. I don't know why, but I did. It was like going to Saturday morning events, like with Booker T being the 5-time champion in WCW, like that type of moments, like that kind of thing. Because it was Saturday morning. It was it's like 11 o'clock. It starts and it lasts for an hour. Like those type of shows I watch. So.
Okay, well, it was, in 1989, Hulk Hogan made a movie called No Holds Barred. It was a normal Hulk Hogan movie. And Zeus was the main antagonist. Mm-hmm. And they even brought Zeus into WCW. They brought Zeus into WWF for a couple matches where he teamed with, I think, the Macho Man to take on Hulk Hogan, and I think Brutus Beefcake was Hogan's partner, I think. Mm-hmm. And Zeus was also in the Dungeon of Doom, or as people call it now, WCW, the Dungeon of Dung. The Dungeon of Dung also had Kevin Sullivan, had Earthquake as, I think, Shark.
Shark Boy.
And a couple other people.
Shark Boy, you said?
No, not Shark Boy. It had the old school Earthquake as...
Oh, Earthquake,
first as Avalanche, but then WWE said, hey, they're gimmick infringement. We had John Tenta named after a natural disaster. You named him after a different natural disaster. So then they changed John Tenta to Shark.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Earthquake stayed in WCW until he came back as Golga during the late 90s as part of the Oddities.
Earthquake did wrestle. Earthquake did wrestle for the WWF back in 2001. I remember seeing one match of his.
Yep. Well, if you watch 1998, 1999, when the Oddities came to be, Earthquake was Golga. Earthquake was wearing that yellow mask with the netting over the eyes, nose, and mouth. I didn't even know till years later that was Earthquake. And then he had his final match on WWF in 2001. And the bad news pack, really the surprise here is Eve Torres. She hasn't been in WWE in years, almost like a decade.
Oh, wow.
I think she made a couple of public appearances, but she was hot, but she only stayed for a few years and then left. And she made a couple appearances after leaving. So I'm surprised she's going to be in the game.
Okay.
Anything else to say, or ready to move on?
I just want to say, though, that back in the 1990s, guys, that because of wrestling itself, I've always do my best to try to watch wrestling whenever I can. But thanks to the internet, thanks to the restrictions of violence and stuff like going on in the 90s and all, with the events kids are too young to watch wrestling. If it's they're like 6, 7, 8 years old. Because I was like that with my parents and all. I had I was like, oh man, I want to watch this. Oh man, I want to watch that. And I was busy just studying, doing homework and studying. And my mom tried to do her best to try to stick me on the straight and narrow to study and be this next educated black person, like the next Neil deGrasse Tyson type of moment. Something like that in a sense. And and I said to my mom, the best way to make success and money is through wrestling. And that's what I always wanted to do, but I listened to my mom more times than over, and I see that it's not meant to be the wrestling part. So,
not in this lifetime.
Yeah, I could have. Here's the thing, though. I did work out a lot when I was younger, during the summer moments between 2002 to 2005 and all. But then, after graduation, I just let loose and pursued a culinary arts career and all, and didn't go so well because I was long story short, I got some trouble with the students and all. Not the students in the school itself; it's a different atmosphere in the school, but the dormitories and all. It's a long story, but let's just say that if the school's listening in on their alumni students and all, don't bring everyone into your schools just because they have a heartbeat. It's something where it's it's changed your life forever, and it did right then and there. So, but other than that, it's I definitely will consider 2K23 as a consideration now because of these roster changes or these updates. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, keep in mind this is going to be DLC that you either have to pay, that you either have to buy or buy the season pass.
Okay. Not a problem.
Or you can buy a more expensive version of the game.
Right.
But like I said, I'm just not. I might check it out. If we play weekend, but I just feel like after a while it'll be the same same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if I want to play same old, I already got 2K18. So
Right. Oh, yeah.
really, the only wrestling game I really want to get is a copy of WWF No Mercy.
Actually, I played that the other month uh, with you guys publicly.
I want to get a cartridge, but like finding one, unless I get like a repro from like Hong Kong or something, um, the cheapest I can find online is like $40 though.
I actually got 2 copies of With No Mercy, to be honest with myself. I
If you
overbought
want,
them.
if you want to sell one, I'll buy it.
Problem though is I'm not sure which one I should sell because the one that's already in packaging is something I never touched yet. And the other one I have was the one that kind of restarted itself because the CMOS battery is based on experience. So because back with WWF No Mercy, I had the same cartridge as with just 2000, 2001, 2002. It changed itself around as of like 5 or 7 years ago. So when I tried to reset the game over, or reset the game and a reset of the console and all, it just cleaned the memory, wiped the memory out of all my creative characters, my progress, everything, my championships I gained and earned. I was just like, what the fuck? So I kind of like left that be, and I had another one I bought sometime about last year or two, and that's the copy I played on publicly on YouTube. But that was like, I can't find that copy right now, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might, if I want to play like an old school wrestling game, I might have to stick with WrestleMania 2000 because that's like $10 online. Or I'll just have to deal with an emulator for now.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, next. Get 1 month. Hold on. Let me turn this so people can see it. Get 1 month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $8. There are a few restrictions, but this is one of the best prices we've seen for the service in months. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is one of the best deals in gaming, and today you can resubscribe for less. For the next few days, you can pick up a 1 month subscription for just $8, down from its usual $15. There are a few caveats to the deal, but if you meet all its restrictions, it's certainly worth considering. The biggest drawback to this deal is that it's not stackable, whether you're a current, lapsed, or new subscriber. Essentially, this deal is only good for those who previously subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate or those who are currently subscribed but have an expiration date within the next 30 days. That's because new subscribers can get their first month for $1 directly from Microsoft. Make sure to check if you're eligible for Microsoft's deal before buying this, as sometimes you can get the deal if your subscription has been expired for a long time. If you're a current subscriber who wants to save some cash next month, you could always cancel your subscription, grab this deal, and save $7 in the process. Codes purchased from Stack Commerce must be redeemed within 30 days, so you should not buy more than one, as it will expire before you can redeem additional codes. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate includes more than access to hundreds of games on your console, and you'll also benefit from Xbox Cloud Gaming and a PC Game Pass membership allowing you to game on your smartphone, console, or PC. It even comes with an EA Play membership at no extra cost. Games are constantly being added to the service, with Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Soul Hackers 2, and Madden NFL 23 all recent additions to the service. Keep in mind, your membership will renew at the standard price once this 1 month deal expires, so you'll want to cancel your membership before that happens if you don't want to be on the hook for more than $8. But with so many games in the Game Pass library, there's a good chance you'll find the service to be a worthwhile investment. Are you gonna capitalize on this? I'm not, because my monthly subscription just renewed like a week ago.
Yeah.
And I don't want to risk basically paying nothing just to get 1 month for half the price.
Right. Well, it's worth it for newcomers or the ones who haven't subscribed in a while. Personally, myself, I'm willing to do it again, because what happens is that when you renew your monthly Xbox Ultimate, you're supposed to get an extra month no matter what. It's like an add-on. Like every time you pay for every month or every few months of worth of Ultimate, you get another month or a few months of that Ultimate. However, though, if you had Xbox Gold and then put Game Pass together with it, then it kind of evens itself out. Like rather than 1 year's worth of Gold and 1 year's worth of and 6 months worth of the Game Pass and all, you get about 8 months, 9 months of the Ultimate because it's been put together. Yeah. So it's kind of switching the rules back and forth. It's mishmashing. So it's kind of weird that they put it like that, but it's to make it fair to those who are hardcore users of Xbox Gold or Xbox Ultimate altogether. And personally, myself, I've been subscribed to Gold on and on for years upon years on that now. This year I wanted to stop by September, because September is when my Gold membership is over with, or my Ultimate is over with, or expires. I'm trying to stick with my PC gaming, and since obviously Apex Legends and Fortnite and other games are free to play, even Halo Infinite is free to play, why not just stick with the PC for now? But the problem though with my PC is that it's not up to date with its specs and all. It's not a good computer for gaming, you know. So it's kind of hard to tell if I should still pay for Gold and stuff like that for the Xbox, but we'll see, you know. But other than that, to those who are new or to those who have never subscribed in a while, go for it. So $8 is worth it.
Yeah. If you don't have a deal, obviously the $8 is worth it just to try it out for a month. But yeah, I mean, I got Game Pass currently. I'm gonna hold on to it for as long as I can because there are a lot of games on there that I want to play. And some I just don't have time to play all of them before they leave, like Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right, next.
This is gonna be good.
Congresswoman criticizes gaming companies for increases in digital extremism. Representative Lori Trahan recently took gaming companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Epic Games to task for not doing enough to combat digital extremism. Yeah, because this is the biggest problem we face in the U.S.
Yeah.
Digital extremism and harassment are sadly a part of the online gaming ecosystem, and at least one congresswoman is trying to do something about it. So one congresswoman has no idea what to do to warrant her paycheck. Representative Lori Trahan, a Democrat from Massachusetts, reached out to major gaming companies such as EA, Epic Games, Sony, Microsoft, and others on issues of harassment and extremism in online games, and her office recently released a summary of the responses. After reading through responses from top gaming companies, I'm disappointed that the majority of companies failed to address some of our most urgent questions, including providing us with their policies around extremism, as well as transparency reporting around these topics, Trahan said in a press release. I'm disappointed that this is what you're spending your time on, Lori. The press release also cites a study from the Anti-Defamation League that states that 15% of gamers under 18 years old and 20% of adults report encountering white supremacy online. The study also says that 3 in every 5 children have experienced harassment playing online games. This is... What next? They do this, then what are they going to do about kids that get bullied on the playground? Is Lori Trahan going to go around to every single school in the United States? Are all your kids playing nice? As Axios notes, several of the top companies responded with concrete measures. For example, Epic Games said that hired 1,500 specialists to address player reports, and Tencent said that it prioritizes reports from accounts used by minors. Several companies stated that they plan to use AI tools to detect problematic comments from players. However, according to Trahan, 9 of the 14 responses didn't mitigate or assess extremism in their games. This action prompted a response from the Entertainment Software Association, which states that the industry takes this issue very seriously. Yes, because like I said, this is the most pressing issue we have in the United States in 2023. What do you think of this Lori Trahan, if that is her real name?
She sounds familiar, though. I think I heard of her before.
What do you think of this garbage that she's saying? I mean, like I said, game companies. Yeah, it's one thing if like someone is on Xbox Live and is constantly harassing you or spamming you with messages or stuff like that. But at the same time, eh, it's these companies are not going to go around like Big Brother and make sure everyone's acting nice.
Yeah, it's.
What do
I mean, because if she's around the age group, though, she's got to be at least in her 30s, no older than in her 40s. And I guess she's a gamer herself personally, and she wants to experience like what Anita Sakazaki went through, to the point that, like, something similar to where Anita Sakazaki went to the United Nations and complained to the entity to that, oh, it's they've been harassed on online gaming and such. And I'm like, well, look, like, all you gotta do, and to any gamers out there who are new to the situation, if people harass you, just block them and mute them. That's all. And I don't understand this congresswoman, what she want to do with this matter, because it's where you have the mute system, we have the block system, we have the report system. What more do you want? And if you don't like the trash talking, if you don't like the atmosphere to where you enter yourself into, then why are you still staying there? If you don't like, if you can't take the can't take the heat in the kitchen, get out the kitchen. It is what it is.
not to mention, I just looked her up on Google. This woman's 49.
Oh wow, she's like my mom's age. Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I mean, of all things that are going on today, you know, and all things that are expected to happen, this is what she wants to spend her energy and time on.
She probably sees some potential in like gaining a following from the gaming community. So those are like transgender or LGBT or something where it's a very like the Hogwarts thing, for example, with all the transgenders, all the activists for transgenders trying to fight against, which I don't get it, because all your fighters that people just want to play the game that J.K. Rowling, who has nothing to do with the game, just has relations with it via copyright. That's about it. And you expect them to not play the game because of what? Because J.K. Rowling said something bad about transgender people how many years ago?
Because she said something bad.
Yeah, like these Congress people, the Hogwarts bashers, who are called them like that. They had nothing else to do. They had nothing better to do. There's no issues that are concurrent and very solidified in today's world because they've been solved many over the last several years now. From like 20 years ago, maybe you can say this shit about harassment in video games, because there are instances where a 13-year-old was having sex with some 30-year-old, 40-year-old woman on Xbox Live back 10, from Xbox Live conversations back like 10, 12 years ago. If I remember correctly, back in 2011 this happened, 2010. And, that was that one incident. But that was like how many years ago? We haven't had anything like that since. So what more do you want from the gaming community? We already have features where you can censor yourself or at least block people from your other accounts and all. So what more do you want? Unless you don't know how to do it yourself. Like, how much more attention do you want from the public? And I think this is her one way to get that kind of attention, this congresswoman. But she wants to address it to like Elisa Keys to the United Nations, go right ahead, because all you gotta do is just block and mute the person. That's about it. I mean, I got my enemies on Xbox Live that dealt with it. I gave them how many chances over, tell them like, hey, stop fucking with me, man. I don't know who you are, where you're from. Like guys like Al, for example. Let's call him Al. So this Al guy, he harassed me, called me nigger every time because he's friends with my friends. So kind of like, I got blocked and muted because of my political beliefs. But I blocked him for harassing me, called me the N-word several times over every time I try to talk at a group setting. Because he's different in political differences than me, or a different opinion, or different outright straight up facts in the gaming world, in the gaming community at large. Because I'm 35, he's 18, 19, 20 years old. I'm like, I don't got time for some kid fucking around with me like that. So that's what it is in the block and mute button. So what do you want, Congresswoman? Like, what more do you want from people? Like, it's frivolous. Just stop it already. If any congressman, politician that wants to fight harassment in gaming, just talk to gamers, ask them what other measures being already been in play for the matter? And if it's already there, the block button, the mute button, that's it. What? It's just frivolous. That's all.
Again, it's a politician who's out of touch. Um, like you said, most gamers, I mean, this whole white supremacy thing. Oh God, if they think now is we have a problem with white supremacy, let's open a history book to some of these Congress people and show them what real white supremacy was.
And I bet she's a Democrat too, right? This Congresswoman.
Yep, Democrat from Massachusetts.
And the Democrats were the ones behind the creation of the KKK and all, and Jim Crow and stuff like that. So who we're fooling? I see the bullshit 10, 12, 15 years ago when I was like, I got tired of the Democratic machine or the Democrat Party or the Democrats altogether or the lifestyle or the thereof of Democrat, because it's hypocritical. You tell me you want rights being maintained and ordained, but then you're the ones who created these outright discrimination laws over the decades in the history of the United States. So who are we fooling here? So this Congresswoman's best is to calm down, sit down, be quiet, and focus on other issues like the Patriot Act or the Health Care Affordability Act, because those issues have been invading people's privacy for the past 10 to 20 years now. So she can focus on something like that. Do I have to be congressman to show you the guys what I'm talking about? Like, come on now. I don't think it's easy to be congressman, but still.
But the thing is, what really frustrates me is she just shows what Democrats are like today. They gotta have their hands in everything, even if they know nothing about what they're getting their hands into, and they're just gonna screw it up if they do get anything changed. And if you wanted to focus on something like this in 2019, when people are actually making money and being able to put money away, and food didn't cost an arm and a leg at the grocery store, then you could do something like this. Now, we got much bigger problems than extremism in gaming.
Yep.
And to people in Massachusetts, when this woman's term is up, just vote her out. She shows you what she's doing with your tax dollars as salary.
And I want to say one more thing too, Triple J, before we move on. If you want to prevent sexism or racism or discrimination from others individually, just block and mute them, like I did with Al, or what someone did with me as from a guy named King Khan, whatever, because it was like my opinion, because I talk about politics and once in a blue moon. It's to my friends, knowing that it's not just some solidified thing online, just not to talk about nothing but politics, but it's because come on, people, this is where as we get older, it's more as we get older as gamers, we're more in tune with the political arena, the political aspect of things, but in the end, it's just entertainment, the gaming. That's all it is. Just leave it at that, and to those who annoy you, just block them and mute them. Simple as that.
Yeah, so ready to move on?
Yes, I'm ready to move on.
All right. First wave of Xbox Game Pass March titles announced. Get ready to rock and rumble with Game Pass this month. Xbox has announced the first wave of titles coming to Game Pass in March, with the list including a fighting game heavyweight, classic strategy, and an RPG with the Studio Ghibli influence to its visual design. Guilty Gear Strive, the most recent entry in the long-running Arc system, works fighting game series, will be available from today on Xbox consoles, PC, and cloud-compatible devices. Featuring a rich roster of heavy metal brawlers and stunning Unreal Engine visuals, this Guilty Gear is also one of the more approachable games in the series and looks great in action. On March 9th, Dead Space fans can dive back into EA's survival horror series when Dead Space 2 and 3 are available to play through Xbox Cloud Gaming via EA Play on March 9th. The release of Dead Space Remake this year has reignited interest in the terrifying series. So if you're looking to explore space stations and alien planets infested by necromorphs, you'll be able to easily do so while you're on the move. Valheim, the brutal exploration and survival game set in a world inspired by Norse mythology, will be available in game preview mode on Xbox Series and Xbox One from March 14th, and the historical strategy game Civilization 6 will be available from March 16th for console, PC, and cloud. Lastly, RPG fans can experience Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom on console and PC from March 21st. This version of the beloved fantasy game is the Prince's Edition, which includes all the DLC that was released after Ni no Kuni 2 originally launched in 2018. Game Pass subscribers can also look forward to a few updates this week for titles available through the service. The Fractal update for No Man's Sky, Mutant Invasion for Fallout 76, and Season 3 Echoes for Halo Infinite are all now available. As usual, several games will be leaving Game Pass, we covered them earlier, to make room for the new arrivals, and you could say goodbye to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Paradise Zero, and more on March 15th. So are you interested in any of these games? Guilty Gear Strive, Dead Space 2 and 3, a preview of Valheim, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, or Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom?
Well, I already have, what's that called? 2 and 3. That's Dead Space 2 and 3, right?
Yep.
I already got them for the games with gold, so no big deal on that part. But I do want to try out Guilty Gear Strive. I downloaded it on my living room Xbox. Took about a couple days to download it on, but think about playing that with you guys sometime this month as well. Because I never heard of Guilty Gear until like 2019, 2018 when the Guilty Gear Strive previews came out of the game. So basically, back in 2019, 2018 was my first time hearing about Guilty Gear because I don't remember any of these games back 20 years ago of the series. I heard of Kings of Fighters 94 from 1994 to 95. I heard of games like Tekken. I heard of games like Dead or Alive and all. I mean, I never heard of Guilty Gear. I'm like, this is one of the most astounding things I never realized until recently. And it's like, interesting. It's pretty cool. It's, it's interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got Dead Space 2 and 3 from Games with Gold when it came out there. None of the other games that are coming out, though, really interest me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really got nothing. Not even Guilty Gear. I never heard of it either.
Well, they had good music in the game. A game called Bullshit's Blazing, Still My Heart is Blazing. If the word kills me, I'm in the New World Order too. Some shit like that. It's like some good weed music. It's like, my bullshit's blazing, still my heart is blazing. If the word kills me, yeah, shit, son. And there's also the other song, Oh, Lullaby. And I was like, still my heart is facing. And there's some biblical shit going on about it. It's basically based on the Holy Bible in a loose term sense of Guilty Gear, I found out. Because back the first 2 or 3 Guilty Gear trailers of the first 2 or 3 Guilty Gear games, they showed a Bible passage based on the book of Matthew or the book of Revelation, one of those passages, and it was like, wow, it was based on the Holy Word and stuff like that. So I guess you could say it's very offensive to be talking about this stuff in gaming because of the legit of politics and gaming and stuff, but it's something to look into as a new cover of Guilty Gear. So yeah.
All right. So these titles are coming. They'll be here during the month of sometime in March, depending on the game. You ready to move on, or?
I was going to say though that it's a good thing I came across the latest Guilty Gear game, because after all these decades I never heard of Guilty Gear. It just amazes me that for 20 years I've been focused on Tekken and King of Fighters and Dead or Alive, but never Guilty Gear. I never heard of them until like 2018, 2019, until they came out with their tracks on the official soundtracks and such. So look into these soundtracks, guys. You might like them. So Guilty Gear is available to you guys on the PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series right now as we speak. So, yeah.
Okay. So, ready to move on?
I'm ready.
All right. Next. Get this out of the way. RoboCop Rogue City shows off action-packed gameplay trailer. During today's Naken Connect presentation, developer Teon showed off new gameplay of the upcoming RoboCop Rogue City. The game puts you in the metallic shoes of Alex Murphy as you explore Detroit in what appears to be a high-octane, technologically advanced first-person shooter. RoboCop Rogue City not only gives you the tech-enhanced combat capabilities of the eponymous protagonist, it also gives you the ability to make dialogue choices as you meet new characters. This lets you decide how to fulfill your objectives, but as you might have guessed, developers intend to throw various twists in the story about corruption and greed. Actor Peter Weller, who portrayed Murphy in the original films, is scheduled to reprise his role in the game. You can see the action unfold for yourself below. I never saw the trailer, so I'm going to play it, and then I'll finish this article.
Hello, Triple J?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
I said I'm going to play the trailer, and then I'll continue.
Oh, sure. All right. Sorry about that.
All right, let me restart it.
Yeah, you're gonna like this trailer.
You came to clean up this city, didn't you?
Yeah, you're gonna like this trailer.
It'd be easier to burn it all to the ground. Believe me, just burn it all.
Come back with a warrant, cop.
All right. All of the arcade staff will sell to you.
Drugs in the basement? I will take care of that. Open the door. I have the warrant.
Upsie, I think I dropped my key somewhere.
Shit.
Surrender your weapons.
Shit.
Finally!
Punch this lights out.
Die already!
Punch this lights out. Ooh, yeah, it was fucked up. Yeah, it was fucked up.
Okay.
One parking ticket.
Developer Teon was founded in 2006 and has released nearly 100 games since. Its most noteworthy release includes other licensed titles starring 80s action IP, including 2014 Rambo's the video game and 2019's Terminator Resistance. RoboCop Rogue City arrives in September for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Hopefully it's on Game Pass, so we can at least play it via the cloud. What do you think of this RoboCop game? This looks awesome.
Well, yeah. Dude, I wish I had the trilogy, of the original trilogy of the RoboCop in my possession of the movies and all. That's going to be expensive to buy right now. But
well, the movies weren't really that good. I mean, the first one was, but the second one was all right, and the third one was just.
No, the first two are okay. Well, the first one, obviously, we can agree that the first RoboCop movie was the best RoboCop movie.
Yeah.
But RoboCop 2 is kind of like a whatever. It's like, that's good of its own, too. But it's not as great as the first one. But the third one's like, yeah, a little cheesy, a little bit. You know, it's like, okay. Yeah, RoboCop fly like a flight on this huge jetpack and all. It's kind of weird, but whatever. It's about the OPEC company taking over a town and turn it into a utopia and shit like that. So.
Yeah, to Delta City. I like someone who was reviewing RoboCop 3. They show the town that's like just in shambles, and he's like, and the reviewer goes, keep in mind, these people want to live here. Why do they want to live here?
Because that's the only place to live. Like, come on now, like, look, we can't afford high-rise apartments like in downtown Manhattan or even in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, stuff like that. I'm not rich. My family's not rich, but we still gotta make ends
Yeah, but
meet,
I mean, the town looked like a war zone already. So it's like, what was left?
That's Chicago for you.
Well, Detroit.
Okay, Chicago, Detroit, New York City. What's the difference, right? It's still a war zone everywhere we
nowadays
go.
anyway.
Well, I have to say though, it's a lot worse in Detroit out here, because now you can buy a house for like not even $1,000. But the problem with buying a house or those abandoned houses is a lot of back taxes, there's a lot of fees, there's a lot of garbage disposal, cleanup, and stuff like that. Hazmat issues, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, you give it a sloppy hand, with these real estate prices. So it's whatever.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the RoboCop trilogy games for Nintendo weren't really that good.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the first one. Although the first one was definitely the best of the three, in my opinion. But yeah, and I know people didn't like Rambo when it first came out, the video game, 2014. But yeah, this game looks interesting. Unfortunately, it's only PS5, Xbox Series. Like I said, it might come out on Game Pass. But yeah, it's coming out in September, so we'll find out then.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we only got a couple more things to go over tonight. Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition pre-orders canceled at GameStop, and fans aren't happy. GameStop pre-orders of Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition have been mysteriously canceled, both in store and online, and it's a bad look. Hardcore Resident Evil fans were keen to scoop up the Collector's Edition of the upcoming Resident Evil 4 remake, which cost $250 and statue of protagonist Leon. However, it seems that this GameStop exclusive item may have run into some serious difficulties, as GameStop has announced that all in-store pre-orders for the game are canceled. Twitter deals guru Wario64 was one of the first to announce the news online, and it didn't take long for affected fans to vent their anger online on platforms like Reddit. Apparent GameStop employees also expressed frustration with the move. "I'm done pushing pre-orders," one wrote. "Company is constantly screwing us over, and now I'm going to have to deal with this and very pissed customers." Some Redditors are also saying that their online orders have been canceled as well, though the extent of that has not been established. At this point, it's not clear what caused this issue in the first place, but it's not the first time that GameStop has struggled with a pre-order crisis. Last September, Kotaku reported that the retailer's database and inventory system suffered a number of major issues that caused locations to have incorrect information about what games would be available when, which triggered a lot of headaches for GameStop staff. If you're a Resident Evil 4 fan in this position, the good news is that the game's demo is rumored to debut very soon. So what do you think of everyone dealing with their pre-orders being canceled with apparently no reason why?
I think I know what's the reason. I think they found out that Ashley doesn't seem as sexy as she once was back in the original Resident Evil 4 game. Because you know how, like, in the Resident Evil 4 back in...
No, it's the store canceling the subscriptions. It's the store canceling the pre-orders.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry if I misheard that. Excuse me, guys. I do apologize. Well, that's kind of weird. Unless they can meet up to demands of the constant pre-ordering. Like maybe it's a mishap between like there's more pre-orders than the actual official copies of the game, of the collector's edition. That could be a reason. So
Yeah.
For a minute there,
maybe they're not.
yeah, for a minute there, for a minute I thought there was a huge group of people, of gamers, saying like, "Oh, this game's gonna suck. Let's stop our pre-orders." So, god damn, is that bad, guys? I thought it was like that.
No, it was people getting emails that their pre-order has been canceled.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with the customer itself.
Right. Excuse me.
And I feel bad for I feel bad for the people who work at GameStop, because obviously the bosses or managers are saying push the pre-orders, and they're going, we have to push them just because when we know they're going to be canceled now.
You might have to get that one wrong Resident Evil fan coming the day of release, and like, hey man, where's my pre-order copy of my Resident Evil 4? And they might trash the store, like in that Fallout 76 gamer. That guy.
Yeah.
Well, you just gotta take that one guy to ruin it all. I was trying to laugh about this, but it's like I wouldn't say obviously Fallout 76 came out was a horrible game itself. Yeah, it's that bad, but man, you know what? But this is Resident Evil 4, so it's kind of a higher pinnacle game than to anticipate him buying. Personally, myself, I want to buy this game myself if it comes out for the Xbox One, that is. But if it has to come out on the Xbox Series X and S and PS5, so be it. I'll wait until then, until I get the console, for that matter. But you know, it sucks. You know, I hope that GameStop will publicly put out a note out there to people who are pre-orders, say that we're sorry, the pre-orders have to be canceled, you know, officially, and then take it from there, give them back their money. That's all. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that the stores have to do this, but unfortunately, sometimes this happens with new games.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, final topic for tonight, coming up. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan says he doesn't want new Call of Duty deal, Activision exec claims. An Activision EVP has claimed that PlayStation boss Jim Ryan said, quote, "I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger," end quote. The ongoing saga of the Microsoft Activision merger took another strange turn recently when Activision EVP claimed that PlayStation boss Jim Ryan said the following statement in a meeting in February: "I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger." Activision Chief Communication Officer and Executive Vice President Lulu Chang Mersway tweeted the quote on March 8th, stating that Ryan said those words during a meeting in Brussels on February 21st. Mersway has previously posted epic anti-Sony memes that garnered a lot of engagement on social media, including on that date in question. GameSpot has reached out to Sony for further comment. Needless to say, this alleged quote would be quite revealing for PlayStation, given that the two companies have been publicly dashing over Microsoft's blockbuster bid to buy Activision Blizzard. Sony has long claimed that the deal would hurt competition in the industry, focusing on potential Call of Duty exclusivity as one of the key vectors of harm. Sony recently made headlines when it stated in court documents that it feared that Microsoft could intentionally sabotage Call of Duty on PlayStation in order to lure customers to Xbox. Microsoft has reportedly offered Sony a deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years, an offer that Nintendo and Nvidia signed, but Sony has refused. It's still unclear if the merger will go through, with Microsoft recently telling EU authorities that it would not drop or sell Call of Duty in order to get the deal done. So what do you think of Sony basically shooting itself in the foot, just wanting to block the merger?
And especially after that public statement, that article, that's a big slap in the face of the gamer, because now it's like the Sony's not looking out for the gamer; he's looking out for themselves as a company now, and it's like, what are you doing, Sony? Like, I was anticipating going to your PS5's console for a while now, And no matter what the shitty deals he did back in the past, I was, let it clear under the bridge and all. But now you just say like, we want to end this merger now because we say so, Sony. Like, get the fuck out of here. No offense to Sony. And I've just heard just now what you just said, so it's new to me now. Now I see more and more why Sony just want to just be shady people all the time, because it's just self-interest take on their own selves. They don't want to be outpriced, outmatched, outgunned, outcompeted, with these franchises being acquired by Microsoft and all. So Sony, I don't know, man. I have to reconsider that PS5 deal, the PS5 acquisition myself. It's something where it's like, I want to buy the PS5 now. It's like, gotta wait a little longer to see what's going to happen now.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with Call of Duty. So this has not...
Really?
Yeah, this acquisition has nothing to do with Call of Duty as far as Sony is concerned. We see their true colors. But I think this is a good thing for Microsoft. Show this to the regulators and say, be like, hey, they said themselves they don't care about Call of Duty. They just want the merger killed. But look at our other partners that did come to the table, and we are going to share Call of Duty with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not talking about Call of Duty yet. Like you just mentioned, so it's kind of like, wow, another double wowzer right there. It's like, damn, bro. Shit. And what's this over? Why would they say that though? Is there a certain specific reason why that Jim Ryan said that?
He just said it in a meeting.
Man, that sucks. That's really does suck right there before to say that.
Yep.
I'm speechless again. It's one thing with the Sims 4 thing. Now it's like, and also the acquisition of Microsoft, the Activision Blizzard deal and all, and that Sony is like, now Sony of its own self and a separate issue or a separate topic. It's like, yeah, we don't care. We're gonna say what we say. That's about it. Like, okay, well, Mr. Big Macho Man, Mr. Tough Guy, Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this shows, like I said, this. If I was Microsoft, I would show that quote to the regulators that are holding up this deal. You can't blame Microsoft if Sony doesn't want to come to the table, and you can't blame Microsoft if they said what we offered to Nintendo and Nvidia, we offered to Sony, and they said no.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. So, unfortunately, we now see why PlayStation's holding up this acquisition as long as they can.
Oh yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to call things for tonight?
I know I said we saw a conspiracy theory at first, but I think I know one of the reasons why Jim Ryan is saying this. Probably because of the fact that they had one of the Sony executives we talked about earlier before our broadcasting about one of their special workers was accused for having pedophilia charged against him for having a 15 or 14 or 13-year-old kid.
But that was like 20. That was years ago, and that was already handled. Really? I heard that worker was fired and everything.
Really?
Yeah, I brought it up. I posted the link on Facebook. Let me pull up the article. I posted the link on a Facebook conversation with you last night.
Of course, yes.
So just let me pull it up.
I see. I saw the article earlier. I was just trying to make a little conspiracy theory where it's like, oh, we're already in deep water right now. Let's go in deeper water while we at it. That type of situation.
Let's see. I got the article, so just let me pull it up. This article was dated
2021 December.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So this was a year ago, not 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah.
Like I said, it's just a conspiracy theory where I thought that, maybe the fact that they have so much problems as Sony as an entity from their pedophiles, in their top rates to them trying to prevent acquisition of the Activision Blizzard deal and all. Maybe they start to hang on to something where it's like, make it as cringy as possible or as offensive as possible with their actions and words. Like, well, might as well just go deeper in, right? Fuck it, that kind of moment,
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
So, all right. So this is where we're going to end things. I hope you enjoyed this. Follow me if you did. The next podcast will be on March 25th starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't plan to be on Twitch before Tuesday, so I don't plan to be on there tomorrow or Monday at any time. I don't know what I'll be playing Tuesday. What about you, Dr. Games 101?
I'll definitely play Undertale sometime this weekend, hopefully. I want to try to start that game. I think that's what I downloaded many weeks ago, but I guess for so many weeks that passed by that I lost track of time and all. So I'll do that gameplay of that, and continue on from there. That'll be all.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. Until Tuesday, when next time I plan to stream. Good night, everyone.
Have a nice day, guys. Bye.